Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of ChluyTalk Podcast. I'm your host, Chluy. Today's guest is Chef Diane Lam, based out of Portland, Oregon. She runs a pop-up that serves Khmer fried chicken. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Diane. How are you today, Diane?
I'm doing so great. Better now, just hanging out with you, honestly. Had a very interesting morning, but I'm chill. I'm like super chill right now.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to chat with me. I just wanted to, support Khmer business as much as I can. And I'm kind of bummed I didn't get to try your chicken, but I'm pretty sure we'll cross paths again. I'm going to make it a pitch stop for me to stop by every time I'm in Oregon. Also, I just wanted to get to know you more, learn more about you. So if you want to give us a little intro and tell us about yourself and rep your city, where you're from and all that good stuff.
Cool. I'm from Los Angeles, California, born and raised. And, raised by my grandparents. They're from Cambodia. They're from Phnom Penh. Refugees from there during the Khmer Rouge, Pol Pot era, Vietnam War time. They went to France. Then they moved to Seattle. Then they moved to LA. And that's where I was born, grew up, LA roots, multicultural, Monterey Park, San Gabriel Valley area. Never thought I would ever leave there because, I love LA. I still rep LA. I just think it's like so much a part of me. And never met Khmer people ever. Grew up,
Really?
Grew up 22 years there and never once had a relationship with Khmer people. Which was like unfortunate because I never, like you said, like underdogs and underrepresented. There's always Filipinos in my school. There were always like Guam, Laos. But we were definitely overpowered by the Filipinos. And I think a part of me wanted to be Filipino because I was a brown Asian and all the other.
You could pass for it.
I think so too. Yeah. I know, totally. I think I just wanted to be a part of a culture that like represented my skin color because I was friends with a lot of Chinese people, a lot of Koreans, and a lot of Vietnamese people, but they weren't Khmer, and they're not brown Asians. It was really hard for me to understand like what I was growing up, And then I went to culinary school in New York. I went to the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, which is probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, MTA North in upstate New York. And then after New York, I went to Seattle and I cooked in Seattle for about 2 years for Chef Rachel Yang. So I worked at a place called Jewel in Fremont. And then after that, I went to San Francisco and I cooked there for about a year. And then I moved to Portland because Chef Rachel, she wanted to open up a restaurant in Portland. And so I moved up and helped her open that restaurant. And I worked there for about 3 years. And now I own my own business thanks to her because, she was a great mentor and she's still a great mentor. But all along that process, I never really cooked Khmer food either. I never thought that I knew enough about Khmer culture and that I was even able to. 2 years into my time in Portland, Chef Rachel kind of pushed me. She wanted me to create Cambodian food, And I always find it like a kind of a cop-out to resort to your own culture's food. Like when people start making like upscale Filipino food or upscale Vietnamese food, people like don't really want that, And I always found it to be like, okay, just because you're Filipino, you want to make, Filipino food all of a sudden, And so that's how I felt about Cambodian food for me. So I kind of didn't want to do it. And then I did one pop-up where I made a tasting menu that was like all Cambodian. And then I realized like, holy shit, I actually do know a lot about Khmer food. I actually did grow up Khmer. I actually, do understand the culture and why, we like these flavors and these combinations and this funk and brahok and all that stuff. Like I understood it after cooking it. And then that started my journey. 2 years later, I now own 2 Khmer pop-ups that really showcase Cambodian food, but under my like language. So it's been a really good formative experience just throughout the pandemic. And it's also really helped me create a community where, like, I met you through it, and I'm doing a pop-up in LA next week for Pray and Tell, which is the Cambodian fried chicken. But through the food, I met another Khmer business owner where that's where I'm doing the pop-up with. And again, it's like, I met so many cool Cambodian people through this process. And it's almost like healing for me because, my family went through, I'm sure a lot of Khmer families went through it. And, we never really talked about the pain. They just like kind of wanted to get over it, And so I never really felt like I identified too much with Khmer culture. And then just like through my business and through Khmer food, I've just like met so many interesting Khmer people with the same background, like pain, that it just really like helped me understand like what we're all about, what's important for me to like envision in the next couple of years as someone representing Khmer culture, what's important for us as like a community. So it's been really, really good in that sense.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Have you always had a passion for cooking, or was that your dream to go to culinary school and become a chef?
Yeah, no, I've always really wanted to cook. I have always felt an affinity towards food. Like a couple of years ago, I was looking through my old childhood stuff. Like when you're younger, like second grade, third grade, you're learning how to like form sentences and writing,
Right.
And there's like a booklet where, my teacher was like, when I grow up, I want to do this, or like my favorite color is this, and you fill it out, So one of the questions was, when I grow up, what do I want to be? And I wrote, I want to be a chef because I like the way the food sizzles in a pan, and I drew a pan with like food in it. And I think I was like probably 8 at that time. And I'm like, damn, I like seriously in my mind wanted to be a chef. And even thinking about what I remember as a kid when it comes to food and all the stuff that I create now, which is a true emulation of like what I ate when I was a kid and what I, did with food or perceived food as I did when I was younger. I paid attention to food very much. Like I paid attention to my grandma, paid attention to the food that I ate. I paid attention to like the food that I saw. And it's crazy when you think about it, like naturally how I formed this like perspective around food without even realizing that that's what I was going to do when I grew up. I just like liked it so much. I paid attention to it. I did want to go to culinary school straight out of high school. And I told my dad, and my dad said, don't waste your mind, which really sucked because I literally threw that out of my brain for a good couple of years. And I went to college and I went into academic probation because my sister gave me a fake ID. My sister gave me her ID. So I was like, wow. Yeah. And I was like 19 and I was going to all like the clubs and it was amazing. And so I quickly got into academic probation. But like I'm kind of like a party girl. Like I'm kind of known in Portland to throw like the best parties, Oh, wow. And so I wouldn't take that. I wouldn't rewrite history ever because it was important for me. But I quickly dropped out of school and I was a server actually for a really good part of my life. Like I think at 21, I was making like $55,000 in like, I think that's like 2011, for a 21-year-old, that's like a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely.
And I was like just blowing through cash, like left and right. And I didn't really like it. Like I never was motivated. I like partying, all this stuff, so much clothes. And, I had a mentor. He was the chef at the fine dining restaurant that I was serving in. And he took me seriously because I took his food seriously. Like he was like such a beautiful chef. Still a good friend of mine, still a mentor, such a great chef. And I would talk to him about his food in a very professional, profound way. And he took me so seriously. And eventually he was like, you just need to go to culinary school. Like you have all this money. You should just take it and pay for your culinary school. You don't need to ask permission from your parents. And then like it dawned on me and I was like, you're right. So with my sister's help, actually, like she literally dragged me to New York to like look at this school. Otherwise I would not have done it. Booked me a flight, booked us hotel stay, went to go see the school, and I applied and I enrolled the next month. And then the rest is history. It was like the most beautiful experience I've ever. It was like Hogwarts for cooking. Wow. It was amazing. It was like in a castle. You stayed there. Everything, the library was only cookbooks, only food related books. It was like 3 stories of just like publications, novels, everything food. Every like extracurricular was about food, foraging, wine, tasting. Like it was just amazing.
Yeah, I think it's cool to like, you know, taking that chance and just going for your dream. You know?
I feel like every progression in my life has been like this weird, like there's like a guiding hand that has opened up. And I think it also helps that I'm open to opportunity, but I feel so lucky at all the little small events that have changed my life. You know, like if I think it's really crazy because I could definitely pinpoint all the different ways that like, and maybe it's just me making a decision and it like changing my life because that's what happens, like events happen. But I definitely always feel like lucky. And I feel like there's like a guardian angel over me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I feel like there's something that's helping me. And I'm really always like scared to lose it. Like, I'm always so scared to lose this like luck that I have. But I do genuinely feel so lucky for like all the little changes and ripple effects that have happened. And I don't know if anyone relates to that, but you know, like I'm not a religious person. Sometimes I wish I was, because I want to be able to like feel secure with my good fortune. But right now I just feel like, you know, every little thing that has happened because like this person said something, or I opened, like something happened and now I like formed this opinion. Like the fried chicken. During the pandemic, I came up with this recipe because I was cooking for homeless people. Like like in Portland, you know, all the restaurants shut down. We were like, fuck, what do we do? Like, how do we make money? And the city gave a huge grant to this nonprofit, and this nonprofit hired restaurants to help feed homeless people because the homeless shelters were filled to the brim and there was no way to produce food for them. So they hired restaurants to do it. I was one of the restaurants that did it. And I'm like gathering all these spices to make cheap food flavorful. And I discovered this one ingredient that is the most important ingredient in my fried chicken. And we are like well known for our fried chicken. In the 4 months that we've been open, we are dubbed the best fried chicken in Portland. Wow. You know, and it's Portland. Portland is known for fried chicken. Portland is known for French fries. Portland is known for burgers. So to be a Cambodian person and playing in the white person's fried chicken game and introducing fried chicken with rice and not with fries is like a really big deal. And like, I think that without me having worked in that moment for the homeless people and buying this ingredient by accident, like, I don't know where I would be right now. You know, like, I don't know if I would even have Pray and Tell, if it would even be that good. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. Stuff like that, just like, it really is.
Things happen for reasons, and your purpose is to serve the community. And that's really cool that you are dubbed the best fried chicken. So I really have to try your chicken now. And what was that ingredient that made it?
I can't tell you.
You can't? Is that secret? Top secret? Okay, okay.
Such a secret. Well, the food is so simple. Like, anyone that works for me, when they get to learn the recipe, because, you know, you put in time, and like after a couple of months, I'll like show you the recipe book and you get to learn it. And that just goes with the territory, you know? It's so simple. There's like probably in the fried chicken, probably like 5 ingredients. But it's learning the product, learning the ingredients, learning the why. And you have to, even if someone had the recipe, they wouldn't really quite understand what that purpose of this ingredient would be for. They would just follow it.
Right.
But I mean, there's a rhyme and reason towards cooking. It's like a science. And so I can't tell you the ingredient, but it's very important for the batter. Because the batter is not like a thick fried chicken batter. I mean, you've had Khmer fried chicken. It's really thin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The batter is not really thick. It's flaky and it's thin.
I love it.
But I love it too. And then the meat is just marinated. This ingredient helps create a batter that's not too thick, but it's also not too thin, So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Thank you for sharing that. And
you're welcome.
So the community support, how's that been? It's been a hit with everyone, like everybody in the neighborhood in Portland. And I saw a couple magazine articles on you. I was doing some research, and you're on Eater and the Portland. I think the Portland News. I forgot the name of the Portland something.
Dude, I was on MSNBC.
What? Wow.
Isn't that so crazy?
How was that like? Like, what was going on through your mind when you're getting all this press and stuff?
It was so funny because MSNBC was like my first nationwide network, I was chilling in Portland and I would get people in New York, or Michigan, texting me like, oh my God, I saw you on the news, randomly. And that was super tight because MSNBC was talking about was how I created a business platform that during the pandemic, I had a business called Sunshine Noodles, and Sunshine Noodles was a Cambodian noodle pop-up. I wanted to reflect the changing of our industry. So, our industry, basically the cooks, the chefs, they don't get paid well. The front of house people rely on tips. And I wanted to change up that structure, and I wanted to alleviate costs on my end. So I didn't want to pay payroll taxes. I didn't want to pay payroll insurance, which is something that right now, payroll taxes are about 30% of my payroll. So if I'm paying $25,000 in payroll for the month, about 8,000 of that is payroll taxes. So that's a lot of fucking money, So instead of doing that, I ended up making everybody that worked for me a partner. So they got revenue instead of a wage. So every 2 weeks, every month, I would just administer the income. That was really great because everyone got paid well and they didn't have to get taxed for it. And I didn't have to get taxed for it. And so MSNBC heard that and they did a segment on how they wanted to celebrate my ingenuity of being a smart business owner in that sense. During the pandemic, the support that I got was for creating a safe environment. I was kind of the first restaurant that created a safe, welcoming environment that pushed hospitality forward because most restaurants kind of relied on, no, we have to be distant, no contactless, everything in plastic, everything is sterile, just keep your distance, and for us, it was really important to really take science and understand what we had learned and what we had interpreted about the pandemic. So we kept everything outside. We were really hospitable. We distanced all the tables. So everything was great. And people felt comforted by the food and people felt comforted by our service. So we were dubbed as one of the safest restaurants during the pandemic. And that was our reputation. And I mean, we were the first to introduce DJs, and bring back DJs, bring back entertainment. And it was a fun vibe what we were doing. And it still is. But now that everything's more relaxed, it just feels a little bit more normalized, But back in July, August, I mean, shit was really serious and everyone was on high alert and scared. Mm-hmm. So, to be dubbed respectable titles like that was really rewarding for me. And that's kind of why I got a bunch of write-ups was because, it was good food, good environment, but we were also changing, societal norms when it came to our industry and the expectations set around it. So that was really cool.
Wow. And so would you say you guys were thriving during the pandemic? Because I noticed a lot of businesses shut down permanently and stuff, like here in New York as well. So it's really interesting to see some businesses just work out in their favor, especially with the delivery. Like there's a lot of Uber Eats going on here, a lot of Postmates, and a lot of delivery here in New York. So is it the same in Portland?
Yeah.
A lot of delivery?
Actually, no, I definitely felt like I thrived. The business thrived just because we were able to pivot and reflect sooner than most restaurants. Like most restaurants survived off of their background and their public image and what they were known for pre-pandemic. So when it came time for them to pivot, I think a lot of it was difficult for them to compromise. Like, oh, this isn't what we are. Like, how do we still retain this image while being reflective of the pandemic? But we based our whole business around the pandemic and the changes that were ensued from it so that we could prevent ourselves from having an unstable business model, And that was really important for us because what we learned the most was that wrench that was thrown into our economy and our fucking lifestyle being the pandemic threw everyone for a loop. We weren't ready for it, yada, yada, yada. So we didn't want to do that anymore. Like we were facing so many shutdowns. We were facing so many, at one point, every 3 months we were shutting down. We couldn't stay open for sit down dining because we would have a spike and then our governor would be like, nope, we're closing. And then we would only rely on takeout. So, a lot of the food that we made purposely was so that it could be carried for takeout. A lot of restaurants that were able to pivot towards that flexibility, did really well. And so Pray and Tell actually is a ghost kitchen model. Like Pray and Tell is made for delivery. So when you said oh, I hope we cross paths or you want to try it, actually, it's pretty possible that I go to New York and do a pop-up there. Because the idea is that the idea is, I know, right? The idea is that the brand is able to be picked up and plotted everywhere, just like a fast food restaurant, blah, 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 blah. Because, ghost kitchens are a real kind of thing it's like a really negative thing for the food industry. So I want to reclaim this concept. And that's why I'm doing that pop-up in LA. I'm kind of pushing the brand forward. So that way we can really see if we can be competitive in this ghost kitchen model. But yeah, we are a very, very takeout driven format. So, and it's all recession proof.
And so that's cool. That's my first time hearing of the term ghost kitchen. So it's pretty much a pop-up, right? Pop-ups?
No, ghost kitchens are when, we're the restaurant owners are the mom and pops and ghost kitchens are the Walmarts, right? So what happens is ghost kitchens only survive on a online marketplace. So they only sell to Uber Eats, Postmates, DoorDash, any of the online delivery apps that you have. Ghost kitchens only operate on there. You can't walk up to a restaurant. You can't walk up to what is it? Man versus Fries is one of the bigger ones. You can't walk up to Man versus Fries, order from a cook and then walk out. Or there's really no Yelp page. They're really not making any waves in, the culture of the food. But most importantly, they're taking away the disposable income that could be used towards local businesses and basically providing a product that's highly marketable and expensive, but the quality is shot. So you have this highly marketable fast food but under the price point of restaurant owners. So Pray and Tell is not cheap, but neither are these ghost kitchen products, right? So there's a one called there's a sushi one called I forgot what the sushi one is called, but they have a brand that's sushi and you can have it from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. You can order all hours of the day and it's expensive, beautiful packaging, and you eat it and it tastes like shit. It's you could spend $40. You could spend $40 for this dish and then people just chalk it up oh, it's takeout. What can you expect? But that's so not true. Chefs spend their whole career strengthening the integrity of food. There's a reason why you don't go to a restaurant and you order Wagyu beef and it's actually prime or choice, because chefs would never do that. The integrity of the food is like what drives our motivation, you know? And so to have these ghost kitchens come in with a poor product and take away from like the local economy by taking away business and also summing down the quality of the food to it just being takeout. Meanwhile, there's other takeout opportunities that are like delicious and amazing. Like that's fucked up. And so Pray and Tell is that brand that I created. Well, me and my two other friends created so that we could combat the concept of what takeout food is, what like integrity behind food is, and integrity behind a business. And like, that's mainly why, you know, we're here. And that's mainly my spiel about ghost kitchens.
Thank you. I learned something new.
Yeah.
So tell me the meaning behind Pray and Tell. What does that mean?
Pray and Tell is supposed to be like we're preying on these ghost kitchens. So that's why it's Prey. That's why the eyes are really important concept and emblem to our brand, because we're literally preying from the distance on these large conglomerate businesses that are basically, you know, just holding local businesses back. And then tell, like Pray and Tell is basically, this is the kind of conversation we want to have with people is like, do you know where your money is going? Do you know who these businesses are? And like, do you care? And if you do care, then what are you going to do about it? Are you going to educate yourself, or are you going to talk about it with other people? Because it's very important. And it's scary to see food shift so fast. There are consequences to everything. And so if we don't act now, we could potentially lose like small businesses. We could potentially lose control over food and bring it down to the hands of people who, you know, we don't want to trust in the next 10 years. Like, you don't want your kids to only have takeout delivery that is monopolized by large businesses. You know, we don't want the takeout delivery model to be taken over by McDonald's of the world. So that's really, really important.
Were you running Pray and Tell simultaneously with Sunshine Noodle Bar, or did you pause?
I paused Sunshine, opened up Pray and Tell. I think the main struggle that I have with owning a business is just keeping my employees happy. Food speaks for itself. Guests will always come. And I think the guests will always come if the employees emulate the culture of your business. So it's like cultivating a staff, which is luck all in itself, and keeping them happy, keeping them motivated, and keeping on top of them. Meanwhile, you're also running the business. You know what I mean? So it's like you're like an octopus with all these different hands in different areas. And you honestly have to be really invested in each person that's on your payroll. Otherwise, they don't feel motivated to work for you. Otherwise, they don't feel valued. And it's really intricate because everyone needs different things and everyone has different love languages. So it's like you're dating 15 people all at once. You know what I mean? I think that's my biggest, and I put that on myself. I think a lot of restaurant owners or business owners have different things that they like feel. But for me, garnishing a staff that feels valued and has a medium to thrive is kind of my biggest goal in my businesses.
What do you love most about living in Portland?
The thing I like most about living in Portland is the people and the drinking culture and the food culture. It's sometimes feels like a really small town, but it's like a small town with like big city accommodations. You know, I could do everything here. I could do karaoke. I could drink. I could eat at really good restaurants. I have tons of friends here. I have tons of clients here or customers. And like, honestly, it's such a great place for me to live. It feels like home I like have lived in so many places. Portland to me feels like my home more than LA actually sometimes. So I love it in that sense. I also love the summers here. The summers are epic. I feel like people, and like the people in Portland, in the winter, they kind of like shrivel up. And then in the spring, they start sprouting. And in the summer, they like fucking blossom. And they're like buck wild crazy. And it's really good energy, and I just love it. I love the summers here.
Same here. Like, I always try to visit like Seattle, then go down to Portland, because my family's in Seattle. Then like all my friends live in Portland, and it's like the best. Like you said, summers and we go to the beaches. There's so much to do. Like, we get all 4 seasons and stuff, but like I don't think there's nothing like a Northwest summer. You know.
No, there
It's
isn't.
like perfect.
There
Not
really,
too
really
hot,
isn't.
not too cold, not even humid. Over here, it's like freaking humid right now. It's
Ew,
like
I
it's like
hate
a
it.
swamp. You know, I hate humidity, so I didn't know what humidity was till I moved out to New York. Like, what?
You're
What is
Cambodian.
this?
What do you mean?
Well, I was born in the refugee camp, but I've never been to Cambodia. I haven't been back yet, so I want to though. That's on my bucket list. Maybe after COVID, like over there, because
Yeah.
I plan on in the next year or two. But
Yeah.
I think they're going through like a whole lockdown right now. Have you been back to Cambodia?
I went when I was little. I was actually supposed to go March of 2019 and March of 2020. And no, it didn't. Wait, we're 2021 right now. Yeah. So I was supposed to go March of 2020, but then COVID happened. I was supposed to go for like 3 weeks. My dad lives there right now. And I don't know, I was really looking forward to being Cambodian. Like, I was really looking forward to like speaking the language and being funny in Cambodia and like meeting people. I was really looking forward to it. But I have yet to go back. I kind of want to go back. I have a friend who owns Pacific Pasta Company in Phnom Penh, and his food is so good. He actually makes authentic pasta in Phnom Penh for Cambodian people. And
That's
it's
awesome.
like, it blows my mind, because it's like he could have done that anywhere. You know, he trained in Seattle. He's a respected chef. He went back to Cambodia just offering a good product. And I think that's so respectable. Like, I really do. I think my end goal is to go back to Cambodia and provide hospitality and teach hospitality and teach like business, hospitality, restaurant, resort, whatever, for Cambodian people, and like almost give them stake and ownership in it. You know, that'd be so fucking tight. Like, I would love to do that. I would love to just like be a positive force to Cambodians. And that's kind of like my low key goal, really, is like to create more connections there, trade routes, products, and like really kind of help it flourish. And because I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just from the war-torn past or whatever, but I do feel an affinity towards like the country and like what it means for my family to like regain that trust in our culture, because I think it really hurt, you know, and I would love to be healing, and I would love to leave my mark in life for that purpose. You know, that'd be really great.
Respect. Yeah, what you're doing is really positive, and you got my full support. And I know you're gonna keep doing great things for the community and our people. And you know, any advice you want to give to like future business owners?
Yeah, I would say if you have a vision, just put it out there. Verbally communicate to people your vision, you know, and like see who your community is that supports it. You know, like, you know, say I want to open up a candy shop, and like I'm like really gung ho about it. And I'm like, eventually I feel like the more you talk about it, the more people are like, oh, I know someone that owns like that used to own a candy shop. And then you like go and you talk to them. And I think talking about it is the first way of being proactive. But you also have to be proactive, obviously. But I think that voicing it out and taking it very seriously, putting it out there and having that conversation with people so that your community, your friends can help you grow it into reality, because it's a group effort. Like everything that I do, I never do it by myself. I've always had guiding hands, guiding light, but it also starts with me coming up with these ideas, coming up with these plans, and people take it seriously. And that's great. And if no one's going to take you seriously, get the fuck out of this group and then go somewhere else, because, you know, you really, really need a community, a group, a tribe to take you to your next level of dreams and make it into reality, you know?
Thank you so much for your presence and your sharing your story and inspiring. I really like your business model about the whole sharing revenue thing. I've never heard about anything like that. So I'm like, wow, this is, You're changing the game. You're a trailblazer, pun intended. And hopefully a lot of our audience got some good takeaways from this. And I have all your info on the screen to follow. Pray and Tell. And what can we expect next from you, Diane? Is Sunshine Bar reopening, or is it gonna? Are you gonna run in both of them, or are you just Pray and Tell full go right now?
I'm just Pray and Tell full go. I think that I was really serious about the whole ghost kitchen thing. I feel like what I learned from the pandemic is that, there is strength in an online community. There is strength in an online marketplace. And I think that we could take food there. And I think we could take like physical locations, physical culture, and platform it on the internet. I mean, as what you're doing right now is like basically what it is. You're like garnishing a community on the internet. And I think that that could be taken more further. And I think that Pray and Tell is the medium that we want to go for. And so eventually I want to be a nationwide, cult. Eventually I want it to be a nationwide thing where people can experience Cambodian fried chicken, feel like they understand the culture just by our marketing, our merch, our just like effort into the online community. I really do want to see that for Pray and Tell and any other brands that are umbrellaed under direction of me and my friends. It would be really, really great to like have a couple of ghost kitchens in New York, have a couple, and have a couple of ghost kitchens.
I'm gonna pull up on you and eat all the chicken.
I know. And like what I dream of simultaneously is like people enjoying this food across a spectrum of, time zones, and being able to like tune into a Zoom or a, what is that one where people are playing video games and they're like
Twitch?
Yes.
Yeah. Like
something similar where it's like either a broadcast of like music or a broadcast of comedians or a broadcast of a program of some sort where people are like enjoying a meal together. They're eating Pray and Tell and they're tuning in online and they're like, oh, this is the fucking vibe. And they're in their fucking house. That would be to me, that would be to me like the epitome of future business. And that would be really great because I'm not trying to be a trailblazer. I'm really trying to respect the change of our society and like kind of be there for them. And like, so that's basically what I envision my next couple of years of doing. That's why LA is so important to me this week is like, I have never cooked in LA, and like I'm from LA. And so I always feel like there's unfinished business to do. So to have like, it's a homecoming. Oh, I should have called it that. What the fuck? Why didn't I call it that? So tight. Joel Knia, which is like, but that would have been so cool if I did call it a homecoming. Maybe next time. But anyway, it's important because, we really do get to test the brand, to test the legs of it being a national brand, potentially maybe an international brand. And that would be so tight just to like, because fried chicken is so approachable.
Yeah. And you're putting Khmer fried chicken on the map.
Exactly.
I feel like when they talk about Khmer food, they people like forget to mention our fried chicken is fire. Like mom's fried chicken.
Fried chicken is so good.
It's so good. So it's like they talk about the beef sticks, the grung, the stuffed chicken wings, but like just the basic, like the thin layer fried Khmer chicken, home like mom style. That's like really underrated. Yeah, whatever you want to dip it with.
Yeah.
And I think I can't wait. I see nothing but great things for your future.
Thank you.
And hopefully we link up in New York, man. Let me know when the pop-up is here. I'll tell all my friends. Also, I don't know if you know about Philly. Philly has a huge Khmer community. And
oh, really?
They have this park that is all Southeast Asian vendors. Maybe you could look into posting up over there with your fried chicken pop-up because
that'd be tight.
It's like seasonal. It's like spring, summer. It's like every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I believe. I'll check with my peoples, but it's like a Southeast Asian like Khmer. Like they selling tuaco. They're selling like stuffed chicken wings, and I think it'd be something to look into maybe for the future and to get the get on the East Coast.
I just love Khmer people. Let me just say that right now. Like I just think that we're just so hospitable and we're just so like willing to share where we're from, that like I feel like close every time I meet someone Khmer. Like I just feel like I could be vulnerable, and I just feel like I could just be myself. And I don't know what it is. Maybe like that's what I'm searching for and I'm projecting it onto them, but I don't think so. Like I think every time I meet a Khmer person, they're just so like down to earth, and they're so easy to talk to, and they're just so like, well, this is a shared past that I have that like you can relate to, and it's like it's so nice, you know.
Khmer people, man, we're the best. And I love your energy, your vibe. So you know, you have a great personality, and that's probably why you're successful. You know, you're a people person. You know, and it's all about the vibes. You know, and I'll see you at the top. And any last words or shout outs you want to give? Anything you want to promote to end this on a good note?
All I want to say is I really enjoy all your Instagram posts. I think that you're so funny. And I was expecting to like be funny, because I was like, oh my God, he's so funny. He's going to try to make me be funny as well. And like, it's actually hard for me to be that. I'm like funny, but I'm not like outwardly funny, you know?
No, you're funny. I don't know when to be funny. Just like, I just go with the flow, but I'm like, for my podcast, I want to make it about my guests and promote what they got going on, and not so much make it about me. But sometimes there's some times where well, especially like the guests that are like people I grew up with, we'll joke the whole time, and I'll just crack jokes. Now,
it's hard to be funny.
You got a friend in me now. We linked up, and keep in touch. And there'll be times where we'll make each other laugh, or we could probably do a mukbang. We could do so many things when I'm in town, or you got karaoke at Psychic Bar. Let's just sing some karaoke and talk some shit.
I karaoke all the time. I am like a huge karaoke person.
That's my favorite thing to do in life. I just want to retire and sing karaoke one day. It's for real.
We'll move to Long Beach and just have like a karaoke bar.
Come on, man. I was in Beaverton. Remember Beaverton? They have like a really cool karaoke bar that has been going there for like 10 years. But I went there recently, and it's still the same, but it's a little updated. But it's like, I had flashbacks in my 20s. Like, yo, we're singing our heart out. It's like this Korean spot, but it's in Beaverton that everybody goes to for the longest time. It's like the after-hours spot for when we used to go clubbing, because Portland nightlife was cracking back in the day, like in my 20s. Remember Portland nightlife, like Barracuda? I don't know if you lived there yet, but it was like Portland was really dope back in the day, but now it's like it's different. But yeah, I'll once I find out the name of that Beaverton spot, I'll let you know. But it's really good. It's a good time. Yeah,
it's great to talk to you. Thank you.
Likewise, and keep in touch, and let me know how I can support. And I'm going to let all my friends know back in Portland to go visit Pray and Tell, and just follow you on social so they can stay up to date with what you got going on, any pop-ups or whatever. All right?
Yeah, my personal social is mainly me taking selfies and me taking food photos. So maybe follow Pray and Tell and Sunshine Noodles.
Yeah, follow, pray, and tell. All right. Thank you so much, cool. Diane. All right.
See you.